Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. We are continuing the daily color today. It is episode 240. We are coloring in the small Victories, and we are on day 2 of coloring these floral filigree designs. They are a repeat left to right, so yesterday I colored the left. That worked really well. It made for a nice, quick coloring, so I will continue the same. Last night I was able to get back to finishing the right side. I'm not sure if I will get to the other side each day to be able to share with you at the end of the day, and then I still have not done the little balls and the little centers of the flowers. I will decide at the end. I want to wait till the color palette of all three are finished, and then I'll decide if I make them all the same or maybe change it up a bit for each of the three designs. So we're using 2 sets of pencils. I have 2 sets of metallics, a 12 set of what's called the Cretacolor Brilliance, and so far I have one for sure. This is also sitting on the sideline in case I want to use it. The lion's share of the work today will be done by the Castle Arts Metallic. That's a 48 set, and I have in my hand the ivy tendrils or branches, the 3 colors, and that's not even really a light to dark, though I did grab the Mythos Black because I didn't see a good dark. In fact, of all of the colors, I will be going in and doing a little bit of black shadowing to try to darken it up because I didn't see a lot of darks in each of the colors. So on the vines, I like to do kind of a variation of browns. So I have Mahogany 009, Bismuth Crystal 22, Camel 35, and Mythos Black 12. I always put the color numbers in the description for reference. My theory is you can use any pencils you want. You can just follow me with colors that closely approximate what I am doing. Again, this Mythos Black, I'm doing just a very faint, soft layer where any of these tendrils go underneath each other. Wherever they, on these ends here, they have these little bulbous bits, and right after that it gets really narrow, so you can see I'm adding a little bit of shadow for all of these places. Again, I only have to do half today to make it a nice and easy coloring. I like to standardize on 45 minutes, and last week went long each day because it was a really large mandala. So this week I will try to lighten the load a little bit, make it simple. So there I've added in shadow bits. I will be going back in and doing shadows a little bit for the flowers, the centers, and each of the leaves as well, but I will stop there. I will set the Mythos Black away. I think we could probably zoom in. Since I am doing only the one side, it allows you to get a more zoomed in look at what I am doing. The next color, I am trying to grab what I think is the darkest of these 3. Each of the 3, you can look by the tips. We have like an orange, a red brown, and kind of a green brown. And so I am going to go ahead with the richer color right next to the black and over the top of it, called Mahogany. Again, still using pretty light pressure. These are a mica feeling, very silky. Not even a little bit silky, we're talking very silky. I do really enjoy how they feel. I find with sharpening, I'm doing some really delicate lines, so I tried to pre-sharpen, but I still feel like these could get sharper. So you see how rich this mahogany is, but it's not necessarily dark, which is exactly why I grabbed that black. So we're going to do the whole variation in the vines in nature. This vine would vary in color. It would have some different textures to it. And so that is what I am replicating. I'm going to switch to bismuth crystal, which, as you can see, it's like a green brown, but definitely, I would even call it champagne-y bronze. I'm going to go ahead and vary the amount of it that I am using. And then I might come back, like this is a really long tendril, so I may come back with that mahogany, which is the rich brown color. I didn't even put any mahogany here on this. I don't know what this is, this little ribbon pattern. I think I'm going to leave it hollow. I know up above we had these weird half circles, and I colored those in, but I think I am going to, I'm grabbing the bismuth black because on this side I forgot to put a little bit where this tendril goes under the leaf and this upper tendril goes under the leaf. Okay, I want to grab camel, which is my lightest tone, but it is a richer tone where the kind of champagne color, which is called, it's the greeny champagne, it is called bismuth crystal. And then I want this soft gold color, sort of tan, to be where these little I guess they're kind of starts of leaves is what I think of these as. See, I'm just kind of going down. This particular vine, I see I didn't add any of the mahogany. I may or may not go back in there and put a layer of mahogany over that black. I am not a big black colorer. I will use it, like in this case, I don't want it for the black. I want it for the shadow aspect of the black. I think it's really very seldom that I actually use black. I generally will see color tones in a very dark area, and that is how I will pick my colors that I want to use. I'm going in with this lovely sharpened mahogany. I really feel like I should have all of them as sharp as this one. I am even adding, so this has that camel color, but right around this edge I added some mahogany. This is being really super picky. I just want you to know that I am adding some suggestions of the color and variations of the colors throughout the length of these vines. I am okay with some of the areas being darker and then lighter, and the variation, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like here's this big long camel. I might on this curve go ahead and add a little bit of the dark color just to change it up. I can also be softer so that when I add this mahogany, it is overlaying whatever color is underneath it so that it gets a you know, a varied tone, and not necessarily light and not necessarily dark. And the cool thing, I don't know if I can show you what this looks like, but these are all very metallic. So when I am finished, we're going to angle it so you can see the glinting. This is the bismuth crystal, so it's the champagne-y color. And I want to make sure that there's this big long bit and I don't have any warmth. So there I've added a little bit of warmth. This, on the other hand, I want to make lighter so that the dark colors from underneath really show up as dark colors. Here's a little ribbon that I missed. So let's go ahead and this dark is because it's coming from behind the way it's drawn, so that is how I want to depict it when I fill it in. I am using the camel, which is the tan color. And I've not left any of this white in the spirit of this first one that I colored. I left some highlights, but not actual white, because it's such a small image. So I am going to do the same for all three of these. Another color that I have off to the side. So I talked about this honey. This honey is a gold, and it's got a really fat tip. So I kind of left it. I didn't really know how realistic it would be to use, but I did want to give it a whirl. And it actually, for as beefy as the end is, it's not terrible to work with on these thin. So I have this area down here. Let's fill in the whites. So we've got little bits of gold. Yeah, that's nice. So this actually looks like copper, platinum, and gold. The mahogany actually looks copper to me. So now I'm coming in here with the camel, which is the tan. It won't be as gold as its neighbor is here. So if I were doing this differently, these little bits of white I could leave, but I am filling them all in. I believe that gives me completely filled in ivy vines, if that's really what they are. So putting these away, the black mythos I need to keep separate because I am going to be using that on every color combo. The next I want to work on is the floral colors. I have 3. I think these colors also follow the spirit of the image above. I only have 3 flowers. It's actually 5 total. 2 partials and then 1 in the center. So I picked up this color tone, the yellow orange to like a mahogany, and the 3 colors we're going to play with, which will be fun to intermingle these just like we did the vines. I have the light is Vegas yellow, going to dragon orange, and the start of each of the petals toward the center is forbidden fruit, which is a pink. So let us see how this goes. Again, working with this pink, it's a huge nib, like by far the biggest nib. Yesterday with the Derwent drawing, those were big pencils, but this puts the word big to put a whole new level. So I have 2 halves of flowers. They actually look reminiscent to me of of poinsettias. But they're not going to be poinsettias. They're just like a summer flower color. So I will only do half of this in the center here. And then tomorrow, I will hopefully have time to get the other side matched up. It is the same brand of pencil, so it doesn't matter if I want to go ahead and get the whole thing started so it is about even. And let's go now. That was a light layer because I'm going to be layering this lovely dragon orange. We'll probably have to come back a bit with the forbidden fruit. And remember that I do plan on adding the shadows with that Mythos black. I do think that these two colors look lovely, and before I go in to darken the forbidden fruit back up, but let me get this one orange done. I want to add the yellow. Vegas yellow. I think this is my first coloring with the metallics that I am actually going for a more colorful palette of all the crazy things. The previous projects I've done in here have been very muted, earthy tones, the islands with the little houses on them, very neutral. And so this was fun to decide, both with the Derwent drawing and with these, to really get as bright a color as I could out of them. And when I say bright, I mean like a vivid, deep color, rather than a distressed dark tone, which is the tendency. These flowers, I mean these colors definitely are on the darker side. So I did purposefully make sure that I used the lightest, brightest for my lights. And these do blend effortlessly. You can just see the red to orange to yellow. Now we're going to take this big beefy nib and try to darken up right close to the center. Very nice. Let's get a little more of this red going on the little one. Okay, setting that aside, moving on to the leaves that will take the most work. I initially had 3 different tones, but in the spirit of the image above, where we were working with our limited palette, There's just this sort of olive tone. So I thought I would find the closest match that I could get for the Castle Arts, which is this silver is just kind of hanging out. It's actually called Platinum number 2. And we will see if I add any platinum to these leaves. Then Olive Verde, 30, and Envy, 15. So I want to pick back up the Mythos Black, which I have not used on the flowers. I might go in just a tiny bit. So I am going to very softly get into these nooks and get them pretty darn dark. And I'm just going to go around to all of the leaves. There are 3 styles of leaves. Actually 4. Smooth, 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 lined, dotted, and jagged edges, which is this one and these 2. So that's where I was like, oh, I could do 4 different color tones. And then I thought, nope, I am going to keep these very simple. Okay. Going even darker. And we do have all right, so let's see how that looks with I'm going to start with the darker green, which is Envy, number 15. I am using medium pressure to make sure that I mix in the Envy with the black. Yeah, these are a really nice pencil. If there was a way, which I don't know the aspects of the mica and how easy it would be to have more of a color range. The kind of like the black, I would love to have some actual darks in the other color tones. Like I don't think there is a dark brown, dark red. I had to get the red, the Forbidden Fruit was the darkest I could come up with. And that was from the Cretacolor. Let's see, let's get the rest of these mixed in together. Lovely little images that are nice and quick. Not so complicated. I did not think that I would do a background on these. I'm not a big background person, but on the mandala here on the left, I did do a blue background. That's kind of my go-to. I love a nice sky background. Okay, I think I want to go with this darker color. Now we're going to the light. Now remember, I still have this platinum. I'm not really sure Where on the leaves, maybe I will go align the edges of these big ones at least. Because I do want to have lights and darks. Now I will connect that platinum and envy with olive verde. This is medium pressure. It's a pretty silky feeling on the silver. The tooth is already, filled with the mica for the most part, so it has a very silky feeling when you're layering over the top. I'm leaving that little bit very light. And I think I want a little bit of silver. These are big enough. And these guys are small, so I'm not going to worry about silver. I am liking how similar these two look. Yay, that was my goal. What's going to be the challenge is I don't have a muted color palette on the third set, which I believe might be the Amazon Basics. And they're just a pretty basic set. So that might be an interesting challenge. Oh, that looks nice. Okay, we still have the centers of these flowers, 3 of them. I wanted to do this mahogany. I am so tempted to leave a little white, but I did not leave any white. I could be very soft in a couple of areas, and I might take my eraser and lighten up, which is actually what I colored up above. I actually went and took an eraser here at like the biggest, most open part of the flowers, and then on the sides of these circles. I did not lighten up the leaves. So I might have to, if I'm going to try to carry that through, I will need to do that in a couple of places. All right, I had not done the black on the flower petals. Everything looks colored in. I like that little bit of light there. I have my eraser, the electric eraser is nearby. I'm going to put all of these away. Oops. And pull out the black. I'm going to let the black sit right here. Here's my little eraser. I'm being very, very feather soft because I don't want all of the color gone. And I like the idea of the lightness. I could achieve this with a jelly roll also. What I don't know is if a jelly roll will work on the mica. So this is probably going to be the better option. Okay, the only thing left is to darken right here in the flower area. Just so you know, at this point, the black lines here, where I have a lot of the mica, it's a little bit covered, so it's no longer bright black. When I'm adding this, it is kind of smooshing around on the mica. It's not, there's no tooth anymore to grab onto. So I'm really mixing in this in little circles with the colors that are already down. This particular leaf's black is all covered. It's similar to what happens when I use white, which is why I'm not too fond of white pencil over the black lines. I really like that look a lot. I am allowing the black to go along the over the top of where the line used to be black to darken it back up a bit. Now this one I didn't go heavy enough to darken that or to lighten it, so I was not overly concerned about what would happen to the lines. Very nice, I'm liking it. So I've got some little soft highlights, some soft shadows. The colors are still pretty vibrant for such a muted palette. And I am going to call this done, and I will work on the other half on my own time. So do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and consider subscribing. And tomorrow we will be working on this particular design, very different than the other two. We don't have a lot of viney tendrils to play with. It's all, even all these leaves, they're all separate. And those are little ginkgo leaves. So this will be a challenge. I will hopefully see you all there tomorrow.